Hello everyone, this is the Surveyor of Kenya. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to export multiple PDFs all at once in an AutoCAD drawing. We're going to export all these sets of drawings as shown on this card by defining the paper space, defining the scale, and defining the color of how the PDFs are going to appear all at once. As you can see in this drawing, I have a staircase plan, I have a survey plan, I have a site plan, a staircase plan, a dimensions plan, and a topographical survey. I want to create single PDFs of all these drawings and export them all at once. Now, let's get right into it. As you can see, at the moment, we are at the model page. But for us to create a PDF, we're going to go to the Layout tab. The first thing we are going to do in this layout, we right-click the Layout, Page Setup Manager, then ensure that Layout 1, the page that you are currently in, is the one that appears here. We are going to go to Modify, and the first drawing, we are going to export it as we want to export it as a PDF, so DWG to PDF. And we want to export it as an A4, ISO A4 paper. And the scale, we're going to define the scale in the layout. You can go ahead and add other settings, but for now, we're going to maintain as is. Now here, there is the AutoCAD CTB. This one plots it with color as it's supposed to be. And we have the monochrome one, which prints the PDF as a black and white PDF. I'm going to print it to color. I want my first layout to be in portrait. Once I am satisfied with the settings here of the first layout and the page setup that I want it to be, I'll click OK and then close. Now, there is this MVIEWPORT. It means that this is how the model appears in this layout. Now, we want to define how the model will appear in this A4 layout page. So I'm going to delete this, and then I'll type in the command line MVIEW. Enter. The dotted line shows the paper size. Now, my viewport, I want it to start here and end there. Once you do that, your model will appear in the layout. Now, we want the staircase to be our first PDF. We are going to double-click. You double-click. Once you double-click, you will see that the pan zoom tab appears and the rotation tab also appears. Now, you can zoom in and zoom out to the desired drawing. This is our desired drawing. Now, once I am satisfied that it captures the drawing that I want, I'll go to Scale and then define the scale that I want the PDF to be printed in. Once I do 1:1000, you see it is too big and it can't fit. I'll try 1:500. It's also too big that it can't fit, meaning I'll have to go to a lower scale. I will try 1:2500. And for 1:2500, the staircase appears just like I want it to. Once you're satisfied that your drawing fits in the PDF, and maybe you want to move the PDF to the center of the page for you to be able to see what you're plotting, you'll have to escape the model view first and go to PSPACE. For you to go to PSPACE, you type PSPACE on the command line. Enter. Now, I can be able to move my PDF without it being edited. As long as I am in the model view, it will move the model and not the page. So if I want to move the page, I must first escape from the model space and go to the PSPACE through the command PSPACE. If I want to go back to the model space, I just double click and then maybe move my drawing. go to Page Setup Manager, Layout 1, Modify. We want it to be a PDF. We want to print it as an ISO full bleed. Now, there is full bleed and then there is ISO. For full bleed, the drawing will appear in the entirety of the paper. This dotted line will not appear. So if I was to select ISO A5, this one, in landscape, right? And then I want it to be a layout. The scale will define it in paper. This one we want it to be at least a new layout and call it multiple. we want the multiple PDFs to appear in our defined paper space. So go back to Page Setup Manager, just like we have done in all the others. Modify. Then maybe you can select an ISO, maybe ISO A2. No, let's do an ISO A1. Okay, so we want it to be we want it to appear in landscape, and then okay, close. We can delete this. Now, for us to define multiple layouts or model spaces in one PDF, we are going to use the command VIEWPORT. Contrary to the others you have been using MVIEW. Now we will use VIEWPORT. For VIEWPORT, we have all these types of PDFs. For single, it appears as just one drawing. 2 vertical, you can see we'll have a drawing here and a drawing here. For 2 horizontal, we'll have a drawing here and a drawing here. And all the others, they are displayed here under preview. Let us maybe try 3 left. Okay. Then you'll do the same as you did for MVIEW. Now we're going to define the space at which we want the drawings to appear. All right. Now I have 3 model spaces as shown in the drawing. If I want to edit any of them, I just double click. And then maybe we are going to add the survey plan here. We can define the scale to be 1:1000 feet. Well, then here we are going to, if you want to move to the next, to edit the next model space, you just double click on the model space. Then zoom in. We want the site plan to appear here. Under a scale of 1:, maybe you can zoom it out just a little. Publish, and we want to publish to PDF. Here we are going to define where we will store our PDFs. We have 2 options. Either print all these PDFs to appear in one single PDF that has several pages, or print every layout as a single PDF. We're going to do both. Publish options. If you want to print all of them to be multiple PDFs, you will tick multiple, or you will select multiple sheet file. Then you can browse. I want to store this. I want to save them tutorial folder. Select and then OK. Under page setup, if you want all the PDFs to print batch plot. Now you go back to public options, and for this one, the multi-sheet file, you'll untick it, browse. We're going to call this one all files. All files. We will name it all files, and then we are going to save all files here. Select. Okay. Publish. No. Your printing or publishing jobs is processing in the background. Once it completes, this icon will stop flipping. You can always check the progress of your drawing to know how far you have gone. If you put the cursor on the publishing sheet icon, it will tell you which sheet number it is currently printing. At the moment, we are at sheet number 5 of 6. Plot and publish job complete, and you can now check the files that you have just exported. We have saved our exports under tutorial folder, and we have, this was the first one, the multiple sheet. This is how it appears. This is the model space. This is the staircase. We have the site plan. We have the survey plan. We have the site plan, and we have the topographical survey. Those are the sheets as they appear. And then we have the multiple sheet. Now you can see the paper size are different depending on the files and how you defined them. This one, we defined it as an A4. This one was an A3. This was an A5. This was an A3 landscape, and this was an A1. Now for the all files, you can see the PDFs appear as single units. This is the layout plotting, multiple, layout plotting, site plan, layout plotting, survey plan, and all the others. They appear as you exported them. That is how you create multiple PDFs from one single drawing. Now, if you wanted to export specific PDFs, maybe say the site plan and the topo only, you can go back to Civil 3D icon, printing, batch plot. They appear here. You can remove the ones that you don't want to appear. Once you remove the ones that you don't want to appear, you just click publish, and you'll have only the PDFs that are of interest to you. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and see you in the next one.